Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. We are now at 10 o'clock, so we are going to, okay, so 10:01, so I think we're gonna start with our session around first-party data. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Also, as we head to maybe the busiest kind of shopping period of the year. So we felt it was very relevant to do this webinar just because the way kind of brands use data now can truly kind of transform their performance as they move to the peak season period. So today we're going to talk about how first-party data is not just really no longer an advantage, but it's also becoming the foundation on how we can have kind of more effective campaigns. So we'll explore how to unlock the value of this first-party data, and also how to connect it to smarter targeting strategies, and also especially during this peak season that is now approaching. So with further ado, we're gonna introduce ourselves. So my name is Andrea Hobson. I work as a senior programmatic consultant here at Programmads, where I've been working for the past 2.5 years. And then I'll let Patrick introduce himself.
On mute, great start. So Patrick, responsible for the technical operations at Programmads, and I'm leading basically our implementation teams and helping clients to put technical projects into place to leverage basically all the technologies that they have for digital marketing.
Perfect. So let's go quickly through the agenda for today. So what we'll cover, we'll start by kind of an introduction on first-party data, why it also kind of matters more than ever. And then we'll look into measurement best practices so you can track the impact and make kind of better decisions during your peak season. And then next, we'll explore the linking between the different platforms to get a more unified view of the customer. And we'll also, to finalize, deep dive into customer match, CRM data in Amazon Marketing Cloud, how to activate it. And finally, we'll share some real world use cases and also kind of, just practical activations of your first-party data. So if we move into why first-party data kind of now matters more than ever. So the way we've traditionally done kind of digital marketing is changing. So third-party cookies are something that we've relied on for years. It's being phased out. So they're already blocked in Safari, Firefox. And on top of that, we have kind of more and more regulations, so GDPR. And that means that you can't just track everything in the background anymore. The amount of reliable signals that we used to get from third parties now is kind of diminishing, shrinking. At the same time, also, obviously, the pressure has not gone away. So the expectation is to deliver kind of better ROI, smarter bidding, clearer attribution, and you can't do that if the data you're working with is incomplete or is disappearing. So this is where first-party data kind of comes into the scene, because it's collected directly from your consumers, it's clean, it's consented. And the most important thing is also the kind of signal that today's algorithms in the different platforms are just designed to use. So you can see it in the way kind of major platforms are evolving. So Google, Amazon, Meta, they're all kind of introduced tools like customer match, AMC, enhanced conversions, and these depend strongly on first-party data. And also with solutions like CDPs, also scaling and activating that data across different channels is now kind of more accessible to than it used to be, to activate this type of data. So isn't just kind of surviving these regulations and these kind of new privacy regulations, is also a way to invest on a foundation that that then you can use to personalize at scale, and also to have a kind of more competitive campaigns as this kind of complete landscape is evolving more and more. So why did we felt it was relevant to start talking about this just far down the line this year? So let's talk about basically peak season, because every year Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and just the end of the year holidays get a lot more competitive, and obviously more brands enter the space, and everyone is just determined to kind of capitalize in this moment. So that means that the spend increases, but also kind of the fight for that attention on users is intensifying more and more. So this competition, you can see it clearly in CPMs that increase really quickly as there are kind of more advertisers that are chasing an inventory that is limited, and then that means that the costs are obviously raising and the efficiency is dropping for some brands. So this could be harder if you then put into place that cookies, third-party IDs, the tools that we used to rely for these kind of peak season are disappearing. And this is how first-party data is, and why it's so valuable, because it's a way to start building the foundation now, specifically in peak season, where you'll be capturing those audiences in September and October. So basically people that are kind of searching for your brand, adding to cart, engaging, going into product views. And then while the peak season kind of hits, you're ready to have those audiences to retarget with more precision. And this is a way to avoid that overspending and be very efficient, very precise with the type of campaigns that you're doing. So this is where timing also kind of is of an essence, because setting up the tagging, your CRM integrations, the consent management, all of that takes time. So if you wait until when November hits, you won't be able to have the data kind of captured and the infrastructure ready for those actions that you will need to take in Q4, specifically in November, which is kind of the highest month. So when you have, again, your own first-party data, you're working with signals that you own, that your consumers have consented to share, that gives you kind of a higher match rate when you activate your campaigns, and in essence, more reliable measurements and a strategy that will hold up kind of in time, even if regulations still are stricter or cookies disappear in different browsers. So it's not just also about filling all of the gaps that then we're left from the third-party data, but it's a way to, by using first-party data as a way of just basically having kind of durable signals. So having a smarter targeting, being able to have a strong optimization, and just overall kind of better measurement that essentially avoids that kind of waste on your media spend. So we've covered why it is important, but what is first-party data? So let's put it really simple. So it's the data that your company collects directly from the consumers. So it comes from the different interactions that users have with the brand. So that could be website visits, it could be the usage of an app, it could be a purchase or different transactions, sign-ups, it could be a form. Or just kind of even customer service interaction. So basically every interaction that your user has with the brand, and the key point to kind of put into value here is that the data is clean, has to be consented, and then that makes it very reliable, unlike maybe kind of third-party data or data that you use that are not directly tied to an audience. That can be then obviously with first-party data then used to improve your targeting, your measurement. Obviously, we'll be talking afterwards as well a bit more about personalization, but it's also key key for these kind of key pillars of when we activate our campaigns. So when you capture your first party data now, then you're basically, as I mentioned before, as we are now in September, we are setting up the basis to having a strong peak season with durable and kind of very clean data to base all of our strategies. So in terms of measurements, so regulations, as we mentioned before, cookie deprecation, that means fewer signals to understand how your website or campaigns are actually performing. So that means that your measurement infrastructure has to be privacy first, so built and consented and first-party signals. That ensures that accuracy is there without compromising all of the compliance. So strong first-party data measurement setup. You have to get, that measurement is a way to get cleaner, more accurate data, and also allows you to have more reliable attribution and the ability to personalize in ways that respect consent also. Instead of fragmented insights, you get a more stable foundation to optimize against. And it's all about also kind of building that measurement that is durable. So by moving to first-party data now, you'll be aligning with the industry, the regulations, and also where users are heading. So that makes your measurement infrastructure more future-proof, and it keeps your reporting and also your optimization more reliable in the long term. The point is just that first-party data, it's not that it is important, it's just that without it, that measurement becomes less accurate, less compliant, and also less actionable, which is, in essence, then a way to just unlock, more clarity and more some long-term kind of resilience. So we agreed that first-party data is essential to driving kind of performance today and also in the future. And machine learning also helps you fill in the gaps left by the disappearance of first-party identifiers. So, for example, it can improve the conversion reporting and the targeting even when the traditional signals are not available. Also, in generating insights, so brands who are rich in first-party data can leverage that machine learning to understand their customers at scale, and that allows you to predict kind of different behaviors and optimize to drive retention and to also uncover those upsell opportunities. In terms of data consolidation, so cloud platforms, CDPs make it easier to also aggregate that data on multiple sources. So we'll now be talking as well about CRM, about analytics, but it's a way to having that 360-degree view of the user. And also in terms of automation, first-party data provides you kind of richer signals for algorithms and powers your bid strategies overall in the different platforms. So if we, sorry, because that was not moving, there you go. So managing your first-party data is really kind of a multi-step process. So it starts with the collection. So that includes all of the behavioral data, user identifiers, CRM, transaction data. And these are captured through tools like GA4, cloud platforms, BigQuery. And then once collected, the next step is to unify your data. So that means resolving all of those different IDs like user IDs or transaction IDs. So you have a single view of each customer. And with that unified data set, you can build segments. It can be rule-based, it could be predictive, but such, is a way to just build different segments, like, I don't know, for example, users that are at risk of churn or high lifetime value customers. And then this can be done in either GA4, BigQuery, Amazon Marketing Cloud. It does depend on really your workflow. And then Obviously, the real value comes when you can activate these audiences. So you push them into the different platforms. So, for example, Google Ads, DV360, the Amazon DSP, and then is the way to kind of reach the right people with the right message. And lastly, measurement and optimization. So measurement is a way to close the loop. So you can query platforms like AMC, BigQuery, and you can understand the performance of your audiences and feedback that into then your budget allocation and your optimizations in your campaigns. So we recommend a three-step approach to building your first-party data strategy. So the first step will be to set up an objective, to start by defining a clear objective for your first-party data strategy, and this should kind of align to your broader marketing goals as well, and the channels where you plan to activate the first-party audiences. Then the second step will be to collect your data, so focusing on collecting that consented first-party data and plan how you bring that data into your different kind of marketing platforms, so it can be used for that activation, whether it's through CRM, GA4, and then finally to activate your first-party data, so to use it for your targeting and continue to refine, obviously, your bidding strategies and your optimization strategies over time. And with this, we'll go into CRM integration.
All right. So let's go a bit more into the integration of CRMs. So basically, if you want to do an integration with CRM, if you're doing it now on Meta, Amazon, Google, whatever other advertising platform, we have always the same benefits on every platform. We will always get from those integrations audiences, so we can build based on our internal information audiences in those platforms and target basically our own clients based on quite strong signals like the phone number, email addresses, or other information that we have collected on our site and that we can actually leverage on the advertising platforms. Thanks to the uploads, we can as well get more insights. So concretely, we can have more information about leads that we create. So general flows online have some limitation when it comes down to leads. We have some qualification work to be done. After we got a form that has been sent to us, or contact that we got from a digital environment, and so can feed back this information actually into the advertising platform to see, are we actually generating quality traffic, quality leads, or are we creating maybe a mass of leads through our campaigns, but that are not really bringing any value to our business. So here really a great opportunity to improve the performance of our marketing campaigns and bring more business context actually to the online environments in which we are working. And then obviously in the same direction, we have the conversions. So we can as well bring more data about our converters. We can add more cross-sell tracking into our systems and have here as well those valuable business insights, and not only, again, an action that happens maybe online and nothing further down the line. So here really all about bringing more clarity to our systems when it comes down to the performance and we're having more opportunities to target people that we know that are interesting for us. So here it's all about having the best data available to do our marketing. To have a bit closer look into how does it work, and to start simple, so we have basically 3 steps in which the activation of a CRM is happening. So first thing is we need to have first-party data. As explained, we are focusing here today on the CRM data of things. So we need to know where can we get our data from. So generally on company side, we will have 3 places where we would be looking for this first-party data. It would be in a data warehouse or kind of cloud architecture that we have in-house. So basically the place where we store all our data. In this case, we have some organization in this, and this allows us basically to identify the first-party data that you could synchronize with any partner of ours, or that we can simply get out of those platforms in a table-ish way. Other platforms would be obviously the CRM. So here we will have all this information that we need to do the integration. We have normally a good structure in here, and should be able to quite easily build those lists of users that we want to synchronize with our partners. And then the third option would be a CDP, so customer data platform, which normally integrates the cloud warehouse and the CRM to build more knowledge bases around our users, and are actually designed to share this kind of data with third parties. So here it would be more out-of-the-box solution to get actually those user bases that we need out of a tool that we can then further synchronize again with our partner. So if we have our data set, this first-party data set ready to be used in our advertising platforms or marketing strategies, then we need to basically push it through to our partner. So here again, what we can do is we can take our data sets, maybe enrich it even with additional information or with second-party data, and then we will send it basically over to our partner. On partner side, the partner will now look into our data set, combine it with their own data set, and see where are the overlaps, and basically match the data that they have with our data, and will define who are those users that are now existing on both sides, and how can we push them then further down for the activation part. And here it's all about then again creating those audiences or making them available, or getting the data available to do more deep dive analysis around our leads and our conversions. So process really simple. First, getting our data out of our systems, sending them over to our partners, and then the partner does the rest of the job, which is basically putting the data in their systems, making the data available for further activation in the tools that we are using with those partners. And here again, it can be any kind of partner. So is it now on the big techs like Google, Amazon, or Meta, or even to have a more local Belgium example, which would be DPG Media, where they have the same possibilities to integrate this data. It's all about being able to match this data and having kind of an option to upload the data. Now, this is the simple flow. Obviously, this is more technical and more complicated if you go more into the details. And for some companies, this is not good enough. The simple version of things is we just send our CRM and our customer data to partner, and then we will get audience out of it. Obviously, we have some companies that are not happy with this kind of flow. So where there are legal restrictions, security restrictions, or even legislative restrictions to just share customer data. And in this kind of scenario, we can double down on this logic. So the stream will be the same, but then what we want to do is share our data without sharing our data. And so to do this, we have now as well capacities like data clean rooms. And so here, the idea is that we have the same principle that applies again. So we will be sharing our data with a third party, and this third party will put audiences or measurement capacities available in their platform. However, thanks to a clean room, we can have kind of a neutral place in between this flow that makes sure that we have what we call non-movement of data. So basically, this means our own data stays within our own environment, and we will be not sharing our data with the third party. So a bit more complicated process that we have now here in place. And how it works is basically put the clean room, when I go back just in this slide. So the clean room would sit between the data set and the data match. So just to put this process again into place, we just add now the clean room, which will bring us the advantage of having a privacy-safe environment. So here, how does it work? It's a fairly simple process again. We will be doing basically this CRM integration now with our data clean room. So we will gather again our data from our first-party data sources. This is now the warehouse, the CRM, CDP, wherever we have our data setting. We will be using this data, and we will be pseudonymizing it with a hashing method or some rewriting of our identification process. This information is then sent into our dataset, data bunker, the clean room, however you want to call it. So this neutral place basically where we can handle our data. It stays still in our own environment. And now we can, again, further modelize this data. So we apply another layer of securitization of the data. We apply another algorithm that further down anonymizes the data. And here the real difference is really that the clean room has another algorithm than just the hashing method that we used when we shared directly with the partner. So here, if we are in a clean room situation, the data is almost impossible to identify by any third party because we have now 2 layers of security added to it and anonymization processes are in place. So here it's, again, nearly impossible to identify who sits behind the pseudonymized IDs that we send in this clean room. Now, if we work in this sense with this clean room, the third party where we want to activate this audience needs to do the same. So they will be sending as well in their own clean room their data set. It will be anonymized. And then we have in this clean room environment, in this Switzerland of digital marketing, basically 2 data sets that can talk to each other, but no one from each party knows actually how to read those files. So only the clean room can read those files. And here again, the matching happens. So basically in the clean room, we will then match again those 2 data sets now, and we will get overlaps. So in this data set. And what now happens is that still our data is in our own environment. The partner data is in their own environment. And what the partner will get is basically some IDs that they can activate on audiences. So the partner doesn't know who sits behind the IDs that will be activated. The partner doesn't know what actually means the audience ID that will get pushed through their systems. And on the other hand, on our side, we don't know actually who is actually activated on the partner side. We just know it's an overlap of our CRM and the partner CRM, if you want so. So privacy safe method as well for clients that have more restrictions when it comes down to legal issues, when it comes down to security questions about data sharing directly with Google, Amazon, and Metas, and so forth. And actually not too complicated way once you get started with the clean rooms to have, again, those same mechanics that you're used to do on this CRM integration. So for those of you that have restrictions, please consider going with clean room because you will get the same capacities than those direct connectors that we have with most of the digital advertising platforms today. So looking this now a bit more into how we could do this with different platforms. So to get started with Google, probably most of you know those, and it's fairly easy. So we have multiple possibilities actually to activate our CRM data and first-party data through the Google ecosystem. So the most known is probably Customer Match within Google Ads or in DV360. So here we can basically send our CRM file as seen before just into the platform. Google Ads or DV360 will handle the data and put the matched data basically available for audience creation. We can use it as well on Google Analytics side. So here we can think actually the data from your website as an example or the application. So here we can use email addresses, phone numbers that have been identified, sending them through to GA4 in this example here, and then have those as identifiers in Google Analytics. They will be hashed, they will be pseudonymized. So not that we are sending directly those personal data to Google, but it will be an identifier that is available on Google sites as well. So again, a bit the same logic as for the customer match, just that we are sending the data now in this one-to-one logic through GA4 tracking. And then obviously as well, when we're looking more into the tracking perspective, you can use as well the Google Tag Manager. Is now on the server-side implementation, on the website implementation of things, where you can send as well with all your Google trackers, those email addresses, phone numbers, in a hashed version alongside your tracking, and then you can have those enhanced conversions as an example that we have seen previously with Andrea. So those are the main possibilities on Google side to send CRM data directly towards Google. And that allows basically to have, again, those audiences created in the different Google systems, or having better insights when it comes down to the performance of things. Advantage is quite clear. We have those native integrations with the analytics and media platform. So wherever you are working with your CRM data, there's a high chance that we can leverage this information, not only in the platform where you're using it, but in all connected Google environment platforms. So you're using the customer match and Google Ads, great stuff. We have now the information about the audiences, and we can measure this actually in Google Analytics, see the performance, have more analysis around the customer journey when it comes down to impressions, clicks, and finally going to the website or the application and doing some key actions on those environments. The other way around, we are collecting more information on Google Analytics side. Thanks to the data that we share, we can build those stronger audiences that are based actually on CRM email address data, and then having those pushed to DV, to Google Ads, and having, again, the same principles that applies. We have CRM based or audiences and insights that we can generate on those advertising systems. Another advantage, obviously, is that if you have Google Analytics in place and those Google advertising solutions, then we have the same IDs that are applying. So here, obviously, we can then have better reporting across the board and have a better view on the customer journey in the end. Those systems are built with privacy controls. So we have the consent mode, as you all know, hopefully. And then we have possibilities to hash the data. We have a strong algorithm into place to have a secure system. So really great tools that allow us to have those systems set up in a privacy controlled environment. Thanks to those integrations, especially with server side, we have as well possibilities to have better controls of our data. And especially as we are working in the first-party context, we will have as well the opportunity actually to control what we are sending, what are we communicating to our partners. So we're not just throwing a file towards them and be happy with it. We will control the data that we are sending. So we are basically in a IT security perspective that is really great in the sense that we have the control over the data that we share, that we have the ownership of the data that we share. And as well in a GDPR context, we will be compliant because we control actually what we are communicating with our partners. And then obviously we can activate, as seen before, as an audience, as conversions, getting more insight out of the box. If you want to do the same on Amazon, you can do it. Same principles applies here again. We have two big solutions, I would say, that we can have on Amazon to integrate actually CRM data. So the first one being the Amazon Marketing Cloud, or AMC. If you've worked with us before, probably have heard about it. And it's basically a possibility that allows us to integrate the data from the Amazon DSP, from the Amazon Advertising Console, into one single place. And from there, we can orchestrate the data, we can build reports, and we can as well inject, again, first-party data and combine it with the Amazon data. This allows us, again, to create more deep dive reports, have more knowledge about our clients, and as well share back those first-party data that you have modeled with the advertising platforms and using them for activation. Here as well, we can do the attribution part. So this more looking into the Amazon attribution. This can as well leverage this first-party data and allowing us to have, again, this better view on the customer journey, having a clear vision on how are the Amazon environments impacting the customer journey and what is working and maybe what is not when it comes down to the business objective. So our leads, our conversions, are they qualified and are they as qualitative as we expect them to be based on our campaigns. As kind of best practice here, it's the same as for all the other systems. So we want to use anonymize is a big word, but hashed user identification. So we don't want to send raw data into the platform. We should never share actually raw data or those not hashed version of our CRMs to any endpoint, to any third-party provider, even though they are able to handle this kind of data. So please hash always your data to have a certain layer of security before sharing your data with any third party. Consent is quite important when it comes down to the sharing. So if you don't have the right consent signals that are aligned with the data, it will not be handled and actually can't be handled from a legal point of view, which is an important point. Please align with the GDPR policies or any legal, local legal laws that you need to comply with. So just please don't send your whole CRM into Amazon or Google or whatever platform for that, just to have those audiences. This will have consequences, legally speaking. So please be aware of this. Consent is quite important. And especially in the European Union, GDPR is an important topic when it comes down to those CRM integrations. And with Facebook, again, here we have two possibilities. So we have what we call the CRM integration, and we have custom audiences. And so here again, we can combine the data that we have, our first-party data, with the metadata, which allows us to qualify our leads. So this would be the CRM integration part. The target is really to have those insights again on Meta side and being able to have better lead generating campaigns. So here, strongly advise to do this if you're on a lead generating business. It's a strong tool on Meta side, which allows us to easily optimize your campaigns towards qualified leads, which is a whole new layer on your performance when you are working on Meta side. More known, obviously, the custom audiences, which allows us again to upload our CRM and target basically our CRM data. Simple system, quite easy to activate in your campaigns, and again, powerful tool to target your clients or create similar audiences based on your client bases. So a strong tool that we can activate here on Facebook or Meta side, because it includes as well Instagram with the same principles. So here again, when it comes down to best practices, Meta as well asks us to actually pseudonymize the data and hash it, so that we are sure that we are not sending again this raw level data. Quite important for Meta is that we update the lists on a regular basis. So don't let your audiences run for 1 year and update them once a year. Even once a month is not that great for Meta. And we're coming back on this just a bit. But really important, have your data up to date. Consent as well for all the big platforms is an important topic, because they handle your CRM data, so they need to know, to be sure that you are sending consented data. So important part here as well, as they are looked quite closely to this consent issue. Quite important as well on Meta side is to monitor regularly your performance of the CRM audiences, especially if you're not updating them on a regular basis. They can degrade quite fast on the Meta environments. And finally, a recommendation as well from Facebook is to automate the process, again in this optic that we want to have this always fresh user data. Obviously, if you automate the whole flow, we can have more up-to-date audiences in general, which will benefit our campaigns in the end. So as said, if you integrate now on Meta, on Amazon, or on Google, we have always the same process to respect. And even further, we have even the same algorithms that we can use, which is quite interesting for multiple platform usage. So when it comes down to the hashing, as said, we can actually send our data raw to the platform, no hashing applied, and those platforms will be able to do the match with their own database. You could do it. We don't recommend to do it, because in the end you will be sharing personal information about your clients to a third party, and this could be considered as a data breach. So please don't do it. Hash your data. Hashing is fairly simple. It's applying an algorithm to your data set, which will rewrite basically an email address into a series of numbers and characters, which is impossible to read for a human being. So you need to know the algorithm, you need to know the hashing key in order to understand what's going on there. The hashing on all platforms on advertising side is that is in use as SHA 256. So it's a standardized method. So it's easy to apply. It's easy to read for those platforms. But if you have the data set, you can't read it. So you are not in a situation where you have a data breach per se. So really important and an easy to apply method and principle here. The upload of the data, it's fairly easy. Every platform has kind of a place where you can upload your data. There are as well APIs that allow us to automate this whole process. And finally, the advertising side of things will do the mapping for us, so we don't need to do the mapping on our side. It's just making sure that the data that we send has some information available for us, and then the platform will do the rest for us. Here, what is really important for us is like, if you are doing those CRM integrations in one platform, is it now on Meta, is it on Amazon, on Google, wherever, you can do it on all platforms because you have the baseline to do this upload, so nothing is blocking you actually to go there. So if you're doing it on Meta, if you're doing it on Google, do it on the other platforms as well. It's the same process for all the platforms, so there's no reason not to do it. It's all benefits for you. So we've seen this before, but just to remind you, so for the principles of this first-party data collection, so it's all about making sure that we have the right data set that you can send to those advertising platforms. So the data should be, first and for all, be consent driven. So make sure that we have the consent of our clients or our users to upload the data and to handle it in an advertising context. Really important to have this information. In general, we have the consent mode in place for the trackings. We have content management platforms. You have those cookie banners. So we have all the measures in place, generally speaking, to have the consent signals that we need. Those information will sit as well in CRMs. They will sit in CDPs. They will be on your data warehouses. We just need to combine this to be sure that we have a data set that is really consent driven. It's not complicated. Again, it's just a question to have those data sets in one single place. Data quality is an important point. If you've ever done an upload into a platform just with a big dump of data, you will probably have seen this as well. There's a high chance that you have low match rates, those 20-30% of match rates with the Google or with the Meta or even with Amazon can happen if you have bad quality in our data sets. So really make sure here that we have a clean data set, that we have the email addresses properly written out, that we have the phone numbers in the right formatting with the country codes and everything, so that we can really go into this hashing process and having the right data in the data that you want to share, in the data set that you want to share actually with those advertising platforms. If you have spaces in the email addresses or in the phone numbers, or for some phone numbers, you put them all into the squished mode, and then the other ones you have spaces between 3 digits and so forth. So if you don't have the same formatting in your file, base file, the hashing will be different, which means basically it will not match in the end with your advertising party and will lead to lower quality match rates in general. So an important part, have your data structured and normalized. Securing, I can't insist more on this one. It's that simple. Just hash your email addresses, the phone numbers before sharing. It's not complicated. You can even do those on Excel if you want. It's really that simple to apply hashing in general. So don't send raw data to any third party. Again, it's a data breach that you're doing in this kind of scenario. So it's a really big issue when it comes down to data security. At some point, it becomes a legal issue. So take those 5 minutes to hash your data. And as well, a last point, and this is standard of data security, it's minimization. So only send the data that is really necessary for the job. So if you want to do a customer match on Google Ads, try to start only with email addresses, see how far you can go on the match rates. If you see you have bad results, add maybe the phone numbers to it. Go step by step, just send the minimum amount of data that you should to test and see what comes out of it. And if you see it's not good enough, then you can expand your data set. But go not the other way around, just dump your whole CRM on it. On advertising side, Google, Meta, Amazon, they don't need to have all those kind of information around your clients to be able to do an audience or a conversion information. But we will send out, again, too much information to a third party. So again, legally speaking here, it's a dark gray zone that you are moving in here. And so try to avoid this kind of situation. Keep it simple. It's easier for you. It's easier for the advertising platform, and it will be less pain afterwards to talk to your legal teams because you have shared too many information about your CRM. So if we're doing all this, obviously we will get a lot of benefits out of it, and we have heard this before. So we will have more precise audiences, quite easy to understand. We have high quality audiences, so we have, in general, better precision when it comes down to our audiences. Obviously, we have better audiences, we will have better performances. So those go easily and speak for themselves. One important thing that is really nice about CRM-based audiences and insights is that we have better cross-channel reach. If you take the example of someone comes to your website through a desktop computer, and we have standard tracking that is applied, we will drop a cookie on this person, and we know now that a desktop has maybe done some actions on my website. If the same person comes back to the website later on their smartphone, obviously we will have here a second cookie, and so we don't know that this is actually the same person. On CRM integration, we know it's the same person because we will have the same email address or same phone number that is synced with this person. And so if you're now on desktop or if you're on a smartphone, we will be able to identify this person. So we have better view on this cross-channel in general. Thanks to those implementations, we have better retargeting strategies in general. We can drive loyalty strategies because we can now target clearly our clients without any big issues. And finally, again, we have a privacy safe way of working because we are, best case again, hashing our data. We are minimizing our data sets, and we are using it for a clear objective, which is our campaigns. So CRM integration is nice, but there's more. So if you look at this picture, extremely confusing, but this is basically the simplified version even of digital marketing and what we're doing today on a day-to-day basis. We are collecting data a bit everywhere. We are activating data all over the place, and data sits on all kind of different scenarios. So we have advertising channels, we have our website, our application, we have our cloud environment, we have a tracking environment, we have our CRMs. Data is all over the place. Now here, what is really great is we have seen before the processes to upload our CRM data in any platform, and most of the platforms is the same principles applies to them. And this goes for even more our ecosystem in general. So if we link tools, they can talk to each other. And then we can have, again, those integrations and have even better performance that we can get out of our platform. So here, if you can just take one thing from me, at least out of this slide, is try to link as much of your systems as possible so that they can start to talk to each other. Again, if you do the upload of the CRM in one platform, this can benefit way other platforms. The data maybe sits on your CRM, it sits on your Google Cloud infrastructure. If you bring those together into Google Analytics, as an example here, we can push it then into display video, into Google Ads, to Meta, to Amazon, whatever, and leverage actually those information through just this connection that we have now with the data sets. So linking is really important and becomes more and more important to be sure that we can synchronize our marketing efforts and don't waste our money on the same people on different places, and have easier integrations in general with all different systems. So cross-platform linking is actually great to increase the performance of your marketing. And so here, in the schema that we had before, we would have a Google Analytics as kind of the backbone when it comes down to data collection and enrichment. We have Amazon that is more on the retail side of things. We have TikTok, Meta that is on social media. We have our own systems that can enrich all of this, but a simple connection just with Google Analytics and your advertising can go quite far for you. And so if I have this with Google Analytics linked situation, what we can get out of this is quite easy view on the customer journey end to end. I don't know why this flipped. We can have easy integrations with CRM, and we can have easy reporting on our marketing performances in general. And to give an example, a concrete example, how this can look, this platform integration is what we do with a lot of clients is what we call a CDP-alike first-party data automation. So it's basically a solution that works like a CDP. So what we do is we use the infrastructure, the cloud infrastructure of our clients to build multiple automation processes that allow us to synchronize data from the cloud infrastructure towards advertising platforms. And more concretely here, what we do with our clients is integration with Google, Amazon, and Meta again here. Those integrations actually allow us to easily upload CRM-based data to those systems in a secure way, in a hashed way, and especially in this first-party context, because the data will never go out of client infrastructure when it comes down to the data handling. The only moment when it goes out is when we have defined a specific audience that you want to send to Meta, Google, and Amazon. So challenges are quite easy to explain here. If you want to do this manually, you can, as we have seen before. It's just a question of time-consuming business here. So it takes a lot of time to build those audiences. If you want to do those on multiple platforms, it's uploading this data, creating your CSV files, and waiting basically for it to work in your platform, maybe adapt it because performance was not that great. So easily 1 hour task to do this per platform. So if you want to do this for free, you are blocked like for 3 hours on your day to do this uploads. And then if you want to do this on a daily basis, you have a full-time job basically doing nothing else than just uploading audiences to your platform. So here, what we do is basically automate this complete process, define an audience on the cloud side of things, and then having a system just pushing the right audiences to whatever platform we want. And then we can be sure that we are basically pushing the same information to those platforms, different platforms, and this in a standardized way, in an automated way, so that we can go from monthly uploads, best case, to daily uploads. We can use more audiences at scale because it's super easy to just define, I want to use now not only all my users, but my most loyal users, or I want to target my churners that I've identified, and so on and so on. So super simple system that allows us to bring those platforms together and leverage basically our first-party data in different advertising platforms. And with that, I will give over again to Andrea.
Great, thank you, Patrick. So a bit to summarize and to put some practical examples, and obviously now that we are in the peak season topic as well. So first of all, kind of to emphasize what we're talking about at the beginning also of the presentation, you kind of start by gathering insights everywhere you can interact with your users. So that could be, as Patrick was mentioning, so CRM data, website analytics, so subscription, purchase history, email interaction. So the richer the data is, really the more precise your targeting will be. And then with that, you create segments. So for example, you can group kind of customers depending on the frequency they purchase, or if they kind of in a specific part of the customer journey, and that kind of allows you to target those high value customers differently from those that are kind of in risk of maybe churning, for example. And then once these segments are defined, then you can personalize your campaign. So deliver kind of tailored ads or creatives based on the purchase intent, or basically on the kind of more of the history of where that user is in the customer journey. So for example, if you have kind of a frequent buyer, maybe target them with a special offer, or if you have users that maybe lapse, so that you can serve them with a message that is more to oriented to win them back, in a sense. So after we do this targeting, this personalization, we track the idea is to track those results continuously, and then to refine your targeting, adjust, optimize. So obviously also within campaigns, the best approach is always to test different approaches, test different bidding strategies, and also kind of test if the data that you use in your first party audiences are the ones that you are, for example, now approaching the peak seasons. Those are the targets that you want to focus toward the end of the year. So if we give kind of a few kind of more concrete examples on how it can be applied between the different platforms, so you can do lookalike audiences based on different customer segments. So those segments that work better for you, that are kind of more qualitative for you, just create high quality lookalike audiences on the different DSP, and that makes you can have kind of better prospects in that way, and amplify and work a lot more into the consideration phase as well. Also cross-channel retargeting, so across different channels you can utilize this data using, for example, as Patrick was mentioned, CRM data and just behavioral data as well. That is very relevant to use across kind of loads of different channels. Then DCO is also one of the things you can leverage your first party data on, just serving personalized creatives depending on the behavior of that user, so their purchase history, their engagement. So depending on where they are, maybe in the customer journey, you can impact them with a version of a creative versus another, to try to activate them and also kind of bring them down the funnel so they end up converting. And just kind of keep feeding that first party conversion data into the algorithms of the different platforms, so they can better kind of optimize the bidding and allocate the budget effectively as well. And then the final step will be also to leverage those learnings and to kind of leverage those insights that you have, and optimize also your frequency capping, and avoid that there is kind of overexposure, and helps you kind of maintain that engagement from the different users. If we look into maybe 3 more concrete examples for the peak season, and also I am a bit conscious of time, so we can retarget caravan journers, so shoppers that have added items but they not end up kind of purchasing, just customers that are loyal to you, rewarding with exclusive offers maybe, and also lookalike audiences. And I want to get to also the key kind of takeaway of this session, just because we are now approaching the end, is that first party data, that kind of the key takeaway that we can get is that is our competitive edge, really. So it gives us stronger signals, better insights, and more control over overall of our campaign. So collecting just high quality consented data and integrating it across platforms is a way to activate kind of smarter campaigns and reach the right audiences at the right time. And this can combine with predictive bidding, dynamic creative, kind of different measurements tool. This is a way to measure the impact, and to also kind of gain better insights. And is the best way to do it is to really start now. So if we think of how we set up the basis for this, peak season. So September will be all about preparation, make sure that everything is in place. October, it'll be the moment of activation and building custom audiences across the different platforms. So it gives you a chance to validate those audiences. November will be the month to double down on your high performance segments and capitalize on that work that you've done from September onwards. And then in December, finally, it's not just kind of wrapping up. It's also a way to document your learnings and see how you can then utilize those moving on to 2026 as well. Sorry, because I feel like we are out of time and we haven't left a lot of time for questions, but please, if you do have questions, make sure that you send them over by email, and we make sure to reply to all of them. So yeah, and obviously if you have if you need help or if you need any support in terms of activating your first party data, how you can utilize those in more specific campaigns, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And then I'll just leave the floor to Kate to comment on the next webinar.
No, thank you so much, Andrea and Patrick, for this great session, and indeed conscious of time. But we did want to sort of share with you that this is just the first webinar of this entire series to help you prepare for the end of the year. We'll follow up with a replay of today's session. As Andrea said, don't hesitate to reach out to us also directly if you have any follow-up questions, if you need support, if you want to do specific deep dive sessions. We're here to help you, and then looking forward to seeing you also in the upcoming webinars for the rest of the year. Thank you so much.